Hi, it's Cassie Oelberg in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania. Well, actually, I am currently in Los Cobos with Creative Memories on the incentive trip. But through the magic of technology, I'm also right here. A little prior planning, and this is recorded and ready to go. Okay, so we are going to do sketch 3 from the virtual crop, and we are going to talk a little bit about using that special paper. So I'm going to tell my little story that I tell my peeps whenever they say, oh, this piece of paper, I can't get rid of it. It's so beautiful. I can't use it. And I tell them the story about my mom's bubble bath. So my mom had bubble baths and she loved them, but she kept them for special occasions. And then she got ovarian cancer and we lost her. And one of the things that I was blessed to get is bubble baths from my mom. So I look at those bubble baths and I think to myself, you know what? Don't wait for the special occasion. Every day is a special occasion. So every page is a special page. So we're going to walk over here and see this special page. So this is my favorite piece of paper from Winter Bliss. Of course it is. It has cute little hearts on it. What's not to love? So, well, you want to use the special paper? I do agree that sometimes you need to wait for just the right page. And something like this is perfect because you can see the paper. You can see that pretty design. And if you have something you really love, then you want to choose something that you can use that you can really see it. So I chose this page because, look, this can be my background paper for this section in the center. So it's my background paper for that. And this can tie in to these borders that are up here and down here. I did add this on down here, which I thought was super cute. But other than that, we don't need to do a whole lot. I did use a Natural Beginnings mat. And I went ahead and I made the left-hand page because the right-hand page is extremely similar. So this way we can get it done faster, but you can see exactly what I did, but just on the opposite page. So let's go ahead and get this party started. So the first thing we need is our pretty paper. And I'm telling you guys, if you have a special paper that you're waiting to use, this is the page for you. So pour a trimmer up. Get this out of our way so we have a nice flat surface to use. And I need my frame to be three-sided and go this way. So when I take it to put it on the trimmer, I'm going to want to cut down here this way and cut this out. So I'm going to rotate it this direction. So sometimes it just takes a little bit of thought when you have a directional paper to make sure it turns out the way you want. So now I'm going to put it on here at 1.5 inches. Love that I can see those little half inches. Oh, makes me so happy. If you have not popped open one of these trimmers yet, oh, I love it. Okay, so I'm going to bring the front of it down to, bring the front of it down to 8, which is going to cut it to 7, because I want 5 inches over here. So bring this down. So that cuts it to 7 inches, and I love that my lines are over here. Then I'm going to flip it, bring it over to 1.5 again, do the same thing, bring it down, 8 up front, 7 there, and now I can take and cut this out of the center, pull up my little tiny arm, measure it over to 7 inches, and now we are going to cut this little piece out. So we're going to bring it down to 1.5 inches, front at 2.5, and that'll be at the cut line. And just cut all the way down here to the next cut line. And now we have this piece left over. And we're going to use this full sheet of magical paper that we love. And we're going to put it right on a Fast to Fab page. So now we get to use this inside part as our paper. And guys, you've been watching how many of the Fast to Fab pages I've been using. And every time I use one like this, it saves me another sheet of paper. So even though it's $3 more to get the Fast to Fab pages, if I use just 3 pieces like this, than I've already, made out. So that's why I love to use them. It gives me a little bit of something to start with, and then it also saves time and money. I mean, who doesn't love that? Okay, so now we're going to bring over this white sheet of paper. Now, one thing I do want to note is that on my last video, I cut little tiny 8-inch pieces off of it. So I just want to make sure I know which side. Okay, so it's 12 inches this way. So I'm going to start there. And we are going to do magic mats with some borders, because who doesn't love to save some pretty cardstock? Magic mats makes it so you can get 4 mats, 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, or 4 1/2 by 6 1/2, whatever you're using, out of one sheet. I also make a border because you can. And then you get even more out of your paper. So notice I came down this way. When you come down this way, you get these magical little strips. They're like the ones that we cut skinny last week. And I can use them on my page and not even have to cut any more paper. So now we're going to measure this over to 1/2 inch. And cut. And now I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to cut another one. It's not going to be 12 inches. It's okay. I often can use these not quite 12 inches for things like, say, last week's video, where we only needed, I think it was 8 3/4 of an inch. And so then you can just use that shortened border. I got another skinny strip. Whenever I go up and there's a skinny strip left, it sometimes gets caught in the border maker, and then I don't have a nice clean piece to use. And so that's why I come down the punch, and that just seems to work better. Okay, so there we've got those. And actually I can use the short one on this page, and I'll save the long one for another day. Okay, now we're going to do magic mats. If you have not done this before, it is super simple. The first thing that you need to know is that you need to cut your paper down to the sum of the sides of the mat. So I would like 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. 4 1/4 plus 6 1/4 happens to be 10 1/2. I'm going to come over here and cut this off. I'm going to rotate and cut it at 10 1/2 here. So now I have this square to start with, and I am going to measure it over to 4 1/4. And I'm going to bring this down to 6 1/4, which means the front is going to be at 7 1/4. And I'm going to rotate. And every time I teach somebody new this, they oftentimes feel like it's not quite right when they first start. You just keep rotating left, and it's correct. It doesn't feel correct, but once you do it a few times, then you'll start to understand how it works. And there we go. 4 mats and a 1-inch square. Plus these 2 little things, plus 2 borders, plus some extra white pieces. I mean, you can get a lot out of 1 piece of cardstock if you're thinking about it. It is a magical thing. Okay. So now let's look at our sketch. So we're going to just leave this up here as our border up here, and then down here we are going to put a 7-inch strip. So that's why we kept, okay, there it is. That's why we kept this, this piece. So I'm going to trim it on one side so that it starts at a scallop. And then we need it to go to 7 inches. Bring it down here. And it's just going to go right along the bottom. Very simple. Then we're going to put our photos here and here. Oh, there's a piece of my Bernese Mountain Dog. Followed me to work. You know, if you have a big dog, you understand that they do follow you to work, no matter how hard you try. But I love them. Okay, then we've got my hubby with the beer, and we've got the outside here. So let's just cut these down. This one, I actually don't want to cut down a whole lot because I want to keep this picture here. So let's go ahead and put this over here. Pull out one of these mats that we magically made. Oh my goodness, this was such a cute bed and breakfast, and we had such a lovely time. And as I was checking out, I said to the owner, this was such a nice bed and breakfast. We really enjoyed it. And he said, that's the goal. No, thank you. It was so funny. Like, that's the goal. I was like, all righty then. Oh, it just made me laugh and laugh. Okay, so we have a little less than 4 inches left up there. See if I want this one on here. I do. So we're going to just cut it down, I think to 3 inches. There we go. And now I'm going to take one of my mats and I'm going to cut it at 3 1/4. Yes, I realized we went through all that effort to make our magic mats, but this is what I have handy. If I were scrapbooking not on air, I probably would have pulled out my simple sleeve with all of the scraps in it and found myself a tiny scrap and used that. Or maybe not. Sometimes I just get lazy. But I'm going to pop this over here. I want these hearts to peek through, so I'm going to leave enough space for those to do that. Turning this into a double page spread. And let's see, I wanted to add a little bit of everyday magic to our page. So this is going to go here, and I'm just absolutely loving the way Natural Beginnings looks with my Winter Bliss. It's bringing me so much joy. And that's it. That is all I wanted to do. So I hope you have a great day. I am sure I'm having a great day with all of my CM friends in Los Cobos. And thank you so much for being here, and have a great day. Bye.